I had never imagined my life would be reduced to one sentence whispered, through clenched teeth. I need a baby. If not, I'll lose everything. If stories of kindness, silence, and hidden heroes move you, subscribe to Silent Talex and don't miss what comes next. The words tasted like shame and fear mixed together. Across the desk, she didn't react the way I expected. No shock, no sympathy. Just silence heavy enough to suffocate hope. Then she finally spoke, calm and controlled. Then meet my condition. In that moment, I realized this wasn't just about survival anymore. It was about the price of kindness. The company had changed overnight. A new board, new policies, new smiles hiding sharper knives. They called it restructuring, but everyone knew what it meant. Anyone who didn't fit the family-oriented leadership image was quietly pushed out. I had given this place 10 years of my life, missed birthdays, funerals, and weekends, believing loyalty meant something. Now loyalty had a checklist, and motherhood sat at the top. I wasn't married. I didn't have children. That made me replaceable. The deadline was cruelly specific. 90 days to prove I was building a family or resign with dignity. No legal fight, no appeal. Just a forced exit wrapped in polite emails. If I lost this job, I'd lose my apartment, my medical coverage, and the savings I'd been secretly sending to a small shelter that kept abandoned infants alive. The irony was brutal. I was helping babies survive while being punished for not having one. The betrayal cut deeper when I discovered who helped write the policy, my own department head. The woman who once called me indispensable had signed my professional death warrant to secure her promotion. She stood in meetings preaching ethics while erasing lives with a pen. When I confronted her, she smiled and said, "It's just business. Don't take it personally." That was when desperation replaced dignity. That's why I was sitting across from her. The HR compliance officer everyone avoided. Not because she was cruel, but because she saw everything and forgot nothing. I didn't ask for favors. I told the truth. I told her I needed time, a miracle, something that could look like hope on paper. My voice cracked when I said it. I need a baby. If not, I'll lose everything. She studied me like she was weighing my soul, not my request. Then came her reply. Then meet my condition. No explanation. No comfort. Just a sentence that landed like a storm warning. The office door opened briefly, and someone walked past without making eye contact. He always did that. The night shift facilities coordinator. No one knew his name. He cleaned messes people pretended not to make. He listened without being invited. I had seen him once, late at night, carefully placing a dropped family photo back on someone's desk. At the time, I thought nothing of it. Now I noticed everything. The HR officer slid a file across the desk. This isn't about paperwork, she said. It's about truth. She told me my condition wasn't illegal, but it would be uncomfortable, painful, risky. If you want my help, you'll have to help someone else first. Someone who's been invisible for a long time. I didn't understand. She didn't clarify. Instead, she warned me. Once you agree, there's no turning back. You might save yourself, or you might lose more than your job. Her eyes softened just for a second. But you'll know you did the right thing. Fear screamed at me to walk away. Pride begged me not to beg anymore. But kindness, fragile and stubborn, refused to let go. I thought about the babies at the shelter. I thought about how close I was to becoming just another silent failure. I nodded. That's when she told me to stay late that evening. To watch, to listen, to notice who really kept this company standing while others climbed over broken backs. As I left her office, I saw him again, quietly replacing a flickering light bulb outside the executive hallway. No one thanked him. No one noticed. But I did. And for the first time since the policy announcement, something shifted inside me. The condition wasn't about a baby at all. It was about becoming human in a place that had forgotten what that meant. I stayed late like she asked. Long after the executives left and the building pretended to sleep, the truth began to breathe. The silence wasn't empty. It was full of footsteps that never made it into reports. Hands that fixed problems before anyone noticed they existed. I saw him again, pushing a cart down the corridor, moving slowly so the wheels wouldn't squeak. He stopped outside the finance office, bent down, and quietly collected shredded papers spilling from an overfilled bin. He didn't rush. He read. I wanted to look away. Something about watching felt like trespassing. But the condition demanded I stay, so I did. I watched him separate the papers carefully, piece by piece, as if assembling a broken story. Hours passed. When he finally noticed me, he didn't flinch. He just nodded, like he'd expected this moment for a long time. He told me he used to work in compliance years ago, before he reported a falsified audit that protected senior leadership and destroyed lower-level employees. The company thanked him by burying his career. They couldn't fire him outright without exposure, so they reassigned him, stripped him of title, influence, and voice. He stayed because leaving meant the truth would vanish with him. "Someone has to remember," he said quietly. The HR officer joined us later. She wasn't surprised to see him. That's when I understood. This was the condition. I had to become part of something larger than my fear. She showed me documents he had preserved over the years, evidence of corporate betrayal, manipulated policies, and targeted removals disguised as restructuring, including the family image clause, including my name. They didn't need my silence. They needed my courage. If I agreed to testify internally, to attach my name and position to the truth, they would protect me, not with lies, with exposure. But the risk was brutal. I could lose everything before justice arrived. I thought about the baby again, the sentence that started it all. I realized the company never wanted children. It wanted obedience. And kindness, real kindness, was dangerous to power. The next morning, the board meeting didn't go as planned. Files appeared where they shouldn't exist. Questions were asked that couldn't be laughed away. The department head who betrayed me tried to speak, but the room had turned against her. Evidence doesn't raise its voice. It waits. When it was over, nothing felt victorious. Just quiet. Heavy. Honest. Weeks later, the policy was gone. Executives resigned. Investigations followed. The shelter received an anonymous endowment large enough to change its future. No one knew where it came from. I did. I never got the baby I begged for. But I didn't lose everything either. I gained something harder to define. A reminder that kindness doesn't always arrive gently. Sometimes it arrives with conditions that ask who you're willing to become. The silent hero returned to the shadows, still unseen by most, but not by me. Kindness doesn't make noise, but it changes everything. Subscribe to Silent Talex for more emotional, faceless stories that speak to the soul. See you in the next story.